All right. So what I want to do, I want to get real tactical about recruiting. It's probably the most tactical recruiting training you'll ever see me do, actually. So I'm going to get into the real nuts and bolts of what to do, how to do it, when, why, all that stuff. The first thing I want you to take away is we need to define what recruiting actually is. Like, how many people have ever recruited somebody and it comes time to invest in leads and they don't invest anything in leads? You guys have had this, yes? Yes. What's a good lead investment for somebody to start out? What would you guys say to that? $1,000. All right. If you recruit anyone in America, and I mean anyone, and I want you to understand when I, so before this, I'd been bankrupt. I've been in places where I had to pawn stuff just to get food to get to the end of the month, just to get a cash advance to pay the electric bill. So I'm speaking from experience on this. But $1,000 lead investment is not a financial decision. It's a belief issue. Anybody in America can come up with $1,000 to buy leads if they really believe they can make a profit from it. So the issue that everybody has with recruiting is y'all stop recruiting too soon. And so I knew Trey was going to talk about that. He's going to tell me, I recruited 2 people and I stopped. No, what I'm saying is you stopped recruiting the ones you already got. It's a process. It's 5 to 7 exposures before somebody actually makes a decision to do this. And what most people will do is they'll send people the video and they're like, no, that's dumb. And you're dumb. No, you're dumb. Well, your mom's ugly. And then you get in a fight. How many people recruited like that? Am I the only one? So, but my point is, you'll send somebody the Rogue IMO video, which incidentally, the Rogue IMO is all updated and it's compliant. There's no numbers on there, and it's Sean Mike doing what he did here a week ago or whatever. So all that's good. We could use that. And your links all work. So if you have Rogue IMO links, thank you for that applause. You don't need to get a new Rogue IMO link. You can just use the one you got and it'll work properly. But what happens is people will send people the video and they're not ready to do it yet, so they send somebody else the video. And what I want you guys to start thinking is, people think when you contract somebody, they're in. And that doesn't mean they're in. That's just an excuse for you to recruit them again tomorrow. So everything we've set up is to allow you to continue to recruit people from the point of getting contracted to investing in leads to writing and recruiting other people. Does that make sense? I don't count anybody recruited in the business until they've written a policy, they've recruited somebody else that's written a policy, and they've gone to the national conference. So they could be in the business for 6 months, killing it. And I don't count them in until they went to Miami or whatever the national conference was, right? Does that make sense? So my whole process with those people is I'm continually touching base. I'm continually doing warm touches. I'm continually getting information in front of them. My Instagram is designed not just to get new people to call from it, but to increase the belief of people that are already on the team. Does this make sense what I'm saying? Okay. That's the first thing. Everybody stops recruiting too quick. What I want you to start doing is start looking at it like somebody's not in until they've written a policy, they've recruited somebody, and they've gotten to the national conference themselves. The second thing that I want you to think about is the process of high tech, low impact to high touch, high impact. So what is high tech, low impact? You send somebody the video, they watch it. That's high tech. It's a great way to expose somebody to FFL. You send somebody a direct message on LinkedIn and say, hey, if I could show you how to increase your comp by 30%, would you be open to it? And they say yes. That's high tech, but that's low impact. My goal is always to move people from high tech, low impact to high touch, high impact. What's the most high touch, high impact thing I can do? Get them to the national conference. They come to our meet and greet. They hang out with us in the seats. We talk about their goals. that type of thing. Does that make sense? So I'm always moving people from high tech, low impact to high touch, high impact, right? So whenever I send somebody the video, or if I send them a direct message on LinkedIn, my goal is to get to a more high impact level of communication with them quickly. It's not to get them to make a decision based on a paragraph of texting. It's, hey, let's get on the phone. Let's talk. Let's meet. Let's go to lunch. Let's come to the meeting at Paul's. Let's hang out after. Let's do a couple reels. Let's go to lunch after. I go to lunch a lot. Actually, thank you for not laughing, made me feel better. But I just realized that during the training, we need to go to the gym together. I need to go to the gym with some people. So, but does that make sense what I'm saying? Because it's a process of building belief. So I want to move people from, I'm sending them the Rogue IMO video, I'm inviting them to the training, we're getting on the phone after they get contracted, I'm doing a game plan with them. The whole point of this system, if there's one thing to take away when you look at the FFL system, it's so you can spend more time with people, not less. Everybody thinks, well, that's the system, the Slack, the Facebook, the post, the text. No, it's not so I can not do anything. It's so that I can offload a lot of the mundane activity so that when I get on the phone with Rochelle, I can build a relationship with Rochelle. I'm interested in high touch. I'm interested in bringing Rochelle in to something that is hard for her to get out of. Like when Derek said it's a lot like dating. That's kind of how it is, a lot like dating, right? Which I was super excited about the dating thing. I've been happily married now for a long time, by the way, just so y'all know. And I lost my wedding ring, but I'm getting a new one. Just so it's like, he's married, he don't wear his wedding ring. I feel naked because I don't have it, but I lost it. Sorry. I left it at Torrey Pines on the dresser. It was a bummer. So does that make sense what I just said? You guys tracking with that? Now, the other thing that I want you to take away is the process of getting somebody started. The reality is your whole goal in life is just to get people to move. Do you know what will do more for somebody's belief than anything you could possibly do for them? A deposit. That's your whole goal. Like one time at the old office over in Asperia, there was an agent in there that had recruited this new agent. And she was talking to this new agent and training him on his phone script. And me and Andrew sat there and we both had this aha moment after this occurred. Like we actually talked about it, like, holy crap, like, did you see that? I was like, yeah, I saw it. This is what she did. He hadn't made any phone calls. He hadn't done anything. She did like an hour-long training. It was the most obnoxious thing ever. She prepared him for every possible thing that could ever go wrong, had him overthink it, had him practice it, had him do all this stuff. It was so cringeworthy that I was going to crawl under the desk, and nobody stopped her. This is fascinating. So when she finished, me and Andrew both said, man, we are way overcomplicating this. Like that's the reason. That's the reason why people don't make it. Because we make this way too freaking hard. So the next day, that dude came back to the office and I sat him down and I had this piece of paper and he's like, I have practiced a script, I don't know what to say. I say this. And I wrote down this, whatever it was. It wasn't even that good. And I put it in front of him and he said, well, what do? I said, well, call Juan. Let's call Juan. Let's call him. So turn the thing around. He's got this lead. How old's the lead? I don't know. It's new to you. I actually didn't know how old it was. So he's sitting there, he's sweating like crazy. He has this stupid script that he can't even read that he wrote out. And he dialed the phone. And person answered the phone and he said, da-da-da-da. And the person said something back. And he said half of his sentence. He hung up on him. And I was like, all right. I didn't say nothing. This is what he did. I'm going to call Sally. And he called Sally. And when she answered, he read what was on the paper. And Sally said something to the effect of, I'm so glad you called. Can you come tomorrow at 2? And I thought, oh my God, this did more for his belief than all that training could have ever done. So he probably went out there, I don't know if he sold it the first time or not, but an hour in the classroom, an hour in the field is worth 20 in the classroom. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. My goal is just to get people to move. If I can get them to move, then their belief will build and it's a lot easier. How many people have ever experienced where you'll get on the phone and like you had all this phone anxiety? Does anybody else have phone anxiety? Okay, so you got phone anxiety, but then as soon as you get like 5 phone calls in, you don't have phone anxiety anymore. And you've been doing it a long time. So the first time is the hardest. Anything you do more than once becomes easier. How do you get better? Repetition is the mother of skill, and activity is the mother of all learning. What that means is you learn by doing and you get better by doing it again. So my whole goal in life is just to simplify and move stuff out of the way. I need a script. Oh, here it is. Just say this. Boom. I need some water. Okay, here's the water. Let's call Bob. That's it. You know, what do I say? I don't know. Say something. It can't get any worse. He's not a customer yet. I spent money on the leads. That's okay. You're already broke. Can't get any worse. You don't have any money now. What time is it, by the way? I didn't bring my thing up here. 1:45. So that's the deal, too. When you get people started, people are risk takers when they ain't got no money. I'm going to tell you the biggest roadblock in this business for people being successful is not the person that doesn't have any money that goes and decides to put it all on a credit card or whatever, however they decide to do it. It's the person that gets a little bit of money in the bank and is afraid to let it go. That's the trap. Like I got this $5,000 in the bank. I'm 44. I got $5,000. Can't let that go. Oh my God. The way I looked at it was I'm 44. I only got $5,000. This sucks. I'll gamble this if I have to. Like I want to change something, right? But that's the person that's the trap of the business is people are afraid to lose, right? And the way to win at this is you got to play to win, not play not to lose, right? Now you say, well, if I fall in that trap, how do I get out of it? You get around people that are engaged in the activity on a regular basis, that are winning. The biggest advantage I had was I was around Paul and Andrew all the time. And I wasn't doing very well in the field. But every time I'd come in to dial, and Paul would walk in with 35 apps and slam them down on the table, make a noise, hit the table so hard. Come in fired up. He'd be like, who's fired up? Who's fired up? Making it rain. And he'd throw all these apps down. He still does that. You know? And I'd be over there. My bank account's negative. I've been dialing for 6 hours. I got 4 appointments. I didn't verify the address. And I'm just like, and my whole attitude would change. I'm like, we are killing it. We are killing it. Yes, we are. You know? But I often think about, like, what would that have looked like for me if it was just me at my house dialing on the couch, right? So the trick to this business is understanding, like, it's not anybody's responsibility to teach you, it's your responsibility to learn. Like, everything is your own personal responsibility. So it's your responsibility to get in the right environment to make it work. Now, sometimes you can be around top producers and that not be the right environment. Ooh. Because top producers will complain and piss in your ear too sometimes. Now, not all the time, none of these top producers. I'm just talking about other places, like in the Midwest, not around here. But just because somebody's hit a certain level of success, you still got to guard your brain. Yeah. Like if somebody's coming in talking about, I don't know, these leads or these people or, you know, I just don't know the lead quality. I run from all that. Because the way I always looked at it is, if Paul McLean had an appointment with that person, he would have sold it. And I run in the same area. So we have all these direct mail. Back in the day, all we have is direct mail. So we have all these different direct mail vendors. And we'd all they'd fill out multiple ones. And I knew it was multiple ones. Like I was never confused because I would get one, Andrew would get another one, and it's different. We look at it, and Paul would get another one. And I'd call it, and they'd laugh at me and hang up. And then Andrew would call it, he'd get a little ways into it. And then they'd hang up on him too. And then Paul would call it and set the appointment for that day within like 20 minutes. And they'd act like they never talked to nobody. And I'm just sitting there going, dang it, I just got to get better at this. You know, that's really the key to it. So when you are recruiting people, what I can tell you is this. You're looking for certain attributes. You're looking for people that take personal responsibility for where they are. So a lot of the questions that I like to ask people are like if Sam has an insurance license and I'm talking to him, I'm like, Sam, do you have an insurance license? Are you currently using it?
Yes.
Where are you using it now? And he'll tell me a place. And then I'll say, oh man, you must love it. And then I'll wait and see what he says. No, I don't love it. I hate it. The leads are awful. Da-da-da-da-da. And he'll get into all this crazy complaining. And see, I'm on guard against that. Because if they'll complain about them, they'll complain about you. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for Sam to say something to the effect of, it's okay, but I like to do better. This is where I have a challenge with it. And then he'll explain to me what it is, but he doesn't go into this huge blame game, right? I'm looking for somebody that takes personal responsibility for where they are. I'll say something to Sam like, Sam, if you have to drive your car 300 miles, will it catch on fire? And he'll say no. And I'll say something like, if you had to invest in leads tomorrow in order to make this business profitable for you, how much could you set aside to invest? And if he fakes the funk, I'll know it. But if he says something like, hey, I'm in a really bad spot, and he tells me why, and it's not a bunch of blaming and excuses, I can deal with that. I'm just looking for somebody that's honest, takes personal responsibility for where they are. The other thing I'm looking at is gratitude. I'm looking for people that are grateful. Because there's a difference in this business between a situation and a problem. A lot of people get messed up over situations, like temporary stuff that doesn't really matter that much. Like, there's a lot of situations. Anything you could write a check for and fix, you say, well, I ain't got no money to write a check, but could somebody write a check for it and fix it? That's a situation. A problem is something you can't fix with money. Because you could be super broke and you can get way far ahead. But like if you got terminal cancer, stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and you got 3 weeks to live, like that's a problem. Situation is I got some chargebacks, I lead roll up, all the bad things that happen to the business. I'm looking for people that understand the difference between that and people that have gone through some stuff too. Like the thing I loved about Jack's story was, he talked about how he's a skeptic and the stuff that he'd gone through. That's what allowed him to continue to do the business. Because in his mind, he was doing this for hope of gain, not fear of loss. And that's who I'm looking for. I'm looking for hope of gain type people. What's the time now? Okay, cool. I gotta go do our team call in a couple minutes, but I'll take 3 questions. Who's got some questions? Yes.
When you're talking to somebody who's from another IMO, we tend to come across this, and from what I'm hearing as we're recruiting, they're actually being trained not to speak to an FFL agent.
Right.
How would you objectify that, and how would you go through that? Because it seems to be a commonality now.
Okay, this is what I do. Whenever you talk to somebody from another IMO, no matter what IMO it is, you got to look at it like you're bringing them out of a cult. Okay, I don't know if y'all should put that on. Don't put that on Instagram. But mentality-wise, like you're asking somebody not to just change, you're asking them to change the environment and the people that they do life with. Like that's a big decision. Whether they're making any money or not, you're asking them to make a dramatic change. So you can't expect that to happen in one conversation. So my goal is I take everything that they could use against me off the table early on, and my goal at the end of the conversation is to make sure that I continue the conversation. I just leave the door open. So if I'm calling you from XYZ IMO, and you say, I'm from XYZ IMO, and I think, okay, XYZ IMO has just taught Rochelle to say all this bad stuff about us. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, Rochelle, I just want to start this conversation off by telling you that your guys' company is amazing. It's full of wonderful people and incredible culture. They have a heart to serve people, and I think they're all incredible people. I don't have one bad thing to say about your guys' company. The only difference between us and them is we pay a much higher compensation, and it's a lot harder for people to quit. So we have less attrition. Other than that, you guys are freaking awesome, and I appreciate everything you guys have done. Just from me to you. What's she gonna do? I mean, she can't just be, but you guys, your CEO's mean. I mean, what's she, like, what are they gonna say? Right? So I take all the stuff away, and then I just have a normal conversation, and my goal is at the end of it, listen, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't have any expectation of where or how long it's going to take. But my goal is with you, Rochelle, just to keep an open line of communication. It always helps to have friends in the insurance profession. And I don't just put the bite on them. I'm trying to get them to make a decision to agree to learn more. That's it. It's not, hey, we had a 10-minute conversation. Are you in or are you out?
Yeah.
I'm just leaving the door open. That's where it's a lot like dating. Like, let's go to coffee. Let's go to breakfast. Let's go to lunch. Let's go. See, I told you I eat a lot. But you know what I'm saying, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, one more.
So when it comes to like recruiting people and they're getting in the process of like going through the course and stuff like that, and you like warm touch with them, what's one thing do you like kind of hype the business up, or do you like let them talk about their reason why they want to do it and stuff like that?
So a lot of the warm touches we do digitally. So make sure everybody's following you on Instagram, post stuff, tag people in things. And then when you know somebody's looked at something or you're following them, my whole goal, especially when people are in class, I'm hiring a lot of warm market people. Okay, so it's people I know. And when I hire Sam, recruit Sam. I'm getting Sam to recruit people he knows. And when Jessica gets recruited, I'm getting Jessica to recruit people she knows. And if they're cold market like Jack, I invite them to my house. They dial in the garage in the baby chair at the table and eat pizza, because then Jack becomes warm market. Jack is warm market. He just came from an ad, but it took time to take him from cold market to warm market. And that's the way I'm looking at it. I'm building a relationship with somebody cold market like Jack. And when I have conversations, it's not a whole lot about insurance. That's what all the trainings are for. Hey, did you watch the training? Yeah, that was cool, huh? Yeah, it was good. Tina was good. Yeah, I loved it when they said that. Dude, did you see the Super Bowl? I mean, I'm just, anything I can to get them to talk more than I talk and build trust. Because I know it's really all about trust. That's all this is. It's like, when people trust you, they'll buy leads. When you recruit them on Craigslist and they failed at 3 other insurance agencies, and you're like, hey, you need $1,000 to buy leads, they don't trust you. That's all it is. They just think you're like the other place where they didn't make it and they can't figure out why they didn't make it. So I'm just focused on relationship. And the other thing I don't do is I don't stop recruiting people. That's the mistake. You get 3 and you're nurturing the crap out of these little hens. You're like, how are you doing? Can I rub your feet? Can I get you something to drink? How's the kids? You do this. I'm friends with this person. I'm friends with this person. You gotta have those ones, but you also gotta go over here and get Mike, and Mike wants to run. So now when Mike's running, I'm following behind Mike, and I'm telling everybody else, look at Mike. You're freaking good. Mike's killing it. Mike's a beast. How's your kids, by the way? And I just keep doing it. I fill the pipeline with lots and lots and lots and lots of people. It's not just having 2 or 3 that I'm just hoping one day are going to do it. I believe in everybody, but I don't count on anybody. Does that make sense? All right, that's my talk. Thank you.